Hey there YouTube biker peoples, Tall Biker here. Now I'm just out for a little quick ride 60 on the Suzuki GSX-S1000f. This is the third model. This is a 2016 model, so it is certainly not the latest thing out there, but it is still very much worth a look. So jumping straight off my MT-09 onto this, it's not a comparison, but you do feel the differences as soon as you get on. Things that spring to mind: your legs are tucked up higher, the clutch is definitely heavier, the biting point of the clutch is sooner and a bit more abrupt. A lot of the press commented on how the throttle was very twitchy, very abrupt. It's not that bad, to be honest. And this is one of the first versions of the bike where it was the most prominent. It's one of those things you get used to, and you know, it's a sporty bike. You need some responsive throttle. The gear shift is super light and the ratios are super close. You barely feel, you have to check the gear indicator to see if you've actually changed gear or not. One, because you can't feel it, and two, because it feels like the same gear as the last gear. And you can get right into 6th gear and cruise along and just kind of roll on and off the throttle with this bike. So it's very comfortable riding position, and the bars are in a good place because they're kind of like quite upright bars. It's just that you have a fairing in front of you which does a brilliant job as well, taking the wind off of you. And for once, I'm glad to say it's a very smooth airflow with this screen. And now some people might comment on the looks of this bike. Not the most pleasing to some people with the fairing. Jeez. Alright, the fact is it does a really great job at taking the wind off of you, and so many bikes these days, they may have a screen, but it creates a lot of buffet, and this does a very great smooth job. Now, one thing I noticed as well compared to my MT-09, although this is 1000cc and it's got around 140 horsepower, the obviously lower down in the revs, my bike has got more torque, I would say. It certainly feels like it, being a 3-cylinder, but I'm sure you get this thing up to 9,000-10,000, and obviously then you're really going to get the full horsepower. No quick shifter on this one. My one has that, so I have to remember to pull the clutch. And like I mentioned, that the clutch is a bit heavy, and I think that would get a bit tiresome in town. But this doesn't have a slipper clutch, which for the most part it probably isn't a problem, because the gear ratios are so close, and it's really very nice and crisp with the throttle when you blip the throttle yourself to match the revs. But on the later models of this bike, you do get a slipper clutch. I'm just looking down at the dash, which is really nice and clear to read, with the gear indicator, speed, and the revs across the top, and it's got all the information you need. It says it's currently doing 51.4 to the gallon for a 1000cc bike. That's brilliant. I assume if you bounce it off the red line all the time, that's going to get worse, but to even be able to get that on kind of normal riding, bit of spirited riding, and then general traffic and just normal riding, a good easy 50 to the gallon is fantastic. This has got Brembo brakes on this, but not the master cylinder. I believe that's a Nissan master cylinder. They feel okay. They don't have the best feel straight on the lever, but they do have the power there. Crikey. Suspension, I think it's KYB, all fully adjustable. It's probably built to a budget. I'm not a particularly heavy bloke, so maybe I get bounced around a little bit, but yeah, suspension's good enough. It's a bit of a sunny day and all the crazies are out. Yeah, I would estimate this to be brand new. It was about 10,000 quid. Now it's probably worth between 6,000 and 7,000. That's brilliant for the power. This is a 1000cc 140 horsepower bike, and that is a real bargain actually for something that's comfortable as well. Like the riding position, you've got sports bike performance and a riding position that is pretty comfortable. Seats nice and pretty soft, and I think you could ride this a long way. It was never meant for touring, but you can put all the normal luggage. This has got a Jivvy tank lock ring on it, so you can have a tank bag, and you can mount the Jivvy top box, which actually leaves just the bracket, so you can, the mount bracket, so you can have the arms that you can sort of take on and off if you want, if you don't want to clutter the bike up. And that's enough to go away for a nice little trip. Even at 30 miles an hour you can go in 4th gear, and then in 4th gear open her up, and the engine is pretty smooth actually. It has a gruff sound, but you've got plenty of revs in the engine to sort of get by people. Obviously you're gonna need to rev more than I am to really get going, but it's a very capable, very comfortable, nice handling bike with good wind protection, and the engine braking is it's not over the top, but it's, you can actually control it on and off the throttle and just manage the corners by just riding the power. I do like a bike that you can be a bit lazy with the gears. You can just cruise comfortably in a slower zone and use that same gear to get by people and to really just push towards 60. There you go. Overtake done. Slight negative points. I'd say the clutch is a bit harder to operate than more modern bikes. They've made it easier with lighter clutches. There's no slip clutch, no quick shifter, but you know what, riding a bike, it's good to have. It's a brilliant gearbox, one of the best gearboxes, so it's no chore to use the gearbox. It's just that I've been spoilt with a quick shifter, but all up, a lovely bike. And if you don't want to spend a hell of a lot of money and you want an extremely capable, extremely fast, good handling bike, the looks might be divisive, but you could do a lot worse than this. The GXS, oh, that's nice. The GSX-S1000f. If you're in the market for a second-hand bike, check one out if you can. So this has been the Tool Biker on a little quick ride on something different. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. And this is nice. Let's go. If you like what you've seen, remember to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll have another video coming soon. This has been the Tool Biker. Thanks for watching.